days of emotional shock. RM and V return, followed by Jimin and Jungkook, BTS ready to live again. Seoul, 2 days after the release of the military. It didn't take long since RM and V greeted the public with small smiles and meaningful looks. Followed by Jimin and Jungkook with slow but firm steps, the 4 BTS members are now like the center of gravity of the world. In just 2 days, the global media highlighted one undeniable: BTS will not be silent for long. They are ready to live again. That morning, RM stood for a moment in front of the gate of the military headquarters. He didn't get in the car right away. He looked up at the sky. The journalist in attendance said Namjoon is like talking in silence. A few seconds later, V caught up, touched RM's shoulder, and they smiled a little. The moment went viral. Thousands of fans wrote one sentence in unison: they came home not just for themselves, but for us. And when Jimin came out of the gate a few hours later, he was wearing a black jacket with a white hoodie. He didn't say anything, just pointed a finger at the camera. Behind him, Jungkook appeared silent, but the look in his eyes was as if to say, "Wait for us." Shortly after the release, HYB's official Weverse and Twitter accounts abruptly changed her profile photo to a picture of the night sky with 7 bright stars. The fans panicked not out of fear, but because his hopes began to come true. The live stream is suddenly scheduled for next week with no details on who will be performing. But everyone knew, from the way HYB evaded answering, from the way Jungkook smiled into the camera when asked about the nearest plan, something big was being prepared. Jimin even wrote on Weverse, "It's been too long not to see you guys in person. My heart is about to explode." Someone from HYB's staff leaked that the 4 members immediately asked for time in the recording studio. The first day they returned, they had already entered the room they used to call Holy Headquarters. Jimin immediately sat down in front of the microphone. Jungkook turned on the mixer himself. RM opens lyric notes. V just sat and listened, his eyes glazed. Reportedly, they did not record anything officially, but they just sang along, laugh, retry the previously unfinished chord. And all who watched behind the glass of the studio could only cry in silence. ARMY kissing Big Thing from different directions. Concert venue schedule suddenly blocked by HYB in 5 major cities this year. Members of the staff who used to be on duty during BTS's global promotions have started to return to full-time work. BTS's longtime producer, who had moved on to other projects, is now back in the main office. RM was seen bringing old notes into the studio notes that he said, "It's not over until we're all together again." And the highlight, a short video accidentally appeared on HYB's internal platform for a few seconds, showing the silhouettes of 7 people standing on a dark stage. Even if it only aired for a short time, it was enough to make the world explode. The calendar date just changed when Weverse Live suddenly sends notifications. Live with a surprise guest at 23:30 KST. ARMY panicked. Global chat groups exploded. Reddit, X, and TikTok are full of speculation. Many thought it was just one of the members sharing a story. But just as the live began, there was a quiet sound, not the sound of music, but footsteps. And when the camera turns on, 4 silhouettes appear behind the dim lighting. RM, V, Jimin, and Jungkook. Jungkook sat cross-legged. Jimin sat nearby, his shoulders pressed against hers for a moment. V opens live with a slight smile. "We're back, but we're not complete. Wait a little longer." Namjoon opens his voice softly, but firmly. "We know it's been a tough 2 years. Not just for you, but for us. But if I can say one thing tonight, we want to start again. But start together." Fans began to cry. Comments on the screen flooded them with thousands of sentences like, "We're always waiting," and "Don't rush, we're here." Jimin laughed a little, but his eyes were glazed. He slipped a sentence, almost like a murmur. "It feels like just yesterday we hugged each other before going in military, but now we're sitting here. Dan, for some reason, I want to sing again." Jungkook didn't say much at first, but after 20 minutes, he was holding a small acoustic guitar. Without saying anything, he began to strum the melody, and then he sang, quietly, almost in a whisper, Time cannot separate those who trust each other. Our path is long, but the stars remain the same. Jimin looked at Jungkook for a long time. RM closes his eyes. V just smiled. Live It lasted only 30 minutes. But when it's over, the world changes. A few hours after the live, Jin's personal Instagram account uploaded a story. Draw the backs of 7 people standing on an empty stage, dressed in hoodies. No captions. Shortly after, J-Hope retweeted an old video of BTS singing Spring Day with the caption, "Spring came early this year." The army is crying. A Korean music site leaked that HYB is booking a mega-scale studio for internal shooting of the project is global in scale. The date? For days after the last discharge day, unknown sources mention. There is talk that all BTS members will gather in one location, not for the media, not for business, but for their own. And in the evening Weverse, RM wrote a short sentence, 7 days to 7 souls. ARMY instantly counted and realized that date leads up to BTS's debut birthday, June 13th. A video from fans was widespread that evening, taken from afar, but quite clearly. A black SUV pulled up in front of BTS. Old rehearsal building in Nonhyundong. 2 figures descend. One is wearing a white hoodie, the other is wearing a black hat and a mask. The fans who watched it through the screen didn't have to guess. It was Jimin and Jungkook. The 7-second video shook the world because despite being short, Jimin was seen turning to Jungkook and chuckling, while Jungkook just stood silently looking at him, the highlight of Jungkook's eyes, which despite being covered by a hat, was clearly visible from the direction of his slightly tilted head and his body that seemed to be holding his breath. ARMY crying and writing. We go back to the days before the world knew who they were. Just 2 young kids walking into the studio, dreaming. At exactly 11 p.m., BTS's official account changed their profile photo to a purple sky studded with 7 stars, this time with the silhouette of a mountain and rays burning from behind it. The caption is just one sentence: 1 day closer. For days have passed since RM, V, Jimin, and Jungkook returned. 4 days that changed the direction of the music industry sky. 4 days that made the world ask, will this be the gathering point for all BTS members for the first time since the breakup? Is this the start of a big comeback? Will Spring Day be heard again, but this time with a more mature, stronger, more wounded and loving voice? What is certain? 7 stars are heading in one common line. And the world can't wait for the sky to shine again. It's been 2 days since they were released from military duty, but it feels like the world has changed colors. The Korean sky is brighter. BTS songs again played in large malls, cafes, radio, and the army wrote this phrase all over the world. They're back. But the most amazing thing, they want to get back together. Live? Maybe concert? Most likely, but for sure, our hearts will never be the same after this.